Question 37 of the Summa Theologia Prima Secunda is about the effects of pain and sorrow. I mentioned yesterday that St. Thomas Aquinas is very concerned and is spending a lot of time on this topic of pain and sorrow. In fact, we have a couple more lessons on this even after today. And I think the reason is that if we are to thrive, if we are to flourish and have a healthy body and a healthy soul that's animating the body, then we want to not have things in the way that are going to impede a man from flourishing and achieving his final end, which of course is beatitude and happiness with God forever. And so sorrow and pain are a couple of the roadblocks and the things that can prevent us from doing that. There are 4 articles in this question, and the first one says whether pain deprives one of the power to learn. And he says, it is evident that sensible pain above all draws the soul's attention to itself, because it is natural for each thing to tend wholly to repel whatever is contrary to it, as may be observed even in natural things. It is likewise evident that in order to learn anything new, we require study and effort with strong intention. Now, this is kind of common sense. If you have a headache or a toothache or you have a horrible backache, well, it's going to be very hard to study, to learn, and to increase in knowledge, because you're going to be so focused on the pain that you're experiencing. Consequently, if the pain be acute, man is prevented at the time from learning anything. Indeed, it can be so acute that as long as it lasts, a man is unable to give his attention even to that which he knew already. However, a difference is to be observed according to the difference of love that a man has for learning or for considering, because the greater his love, the more he will retain the intention of his mind to prevent it from turning entirely to the pain. So he seems to be adding this little caveat that, sometimes a person's so excited about what they're learning that they can even overcome some physical pain that's impeding their ability to learn. Article 2, whether the effect of sorrow or pain is to burden the soul. He says here that sorrow is caused by a present evil, and this evil, from the very fact that it is repugnant to the movement of the will, depresses the soul inasmuch as it hinders it from enjoying that which it wishes to enjoy. And if the evil which is the cause of sorrow be not strong, so strong as to deprive one of the hope of avoiding it, although the soul be depressed insofar as for the present it fails to grasp that which it craves, for yet it retains the movement whereby to repulse that evil. If, on the other hand, the strength of the evil be such as to exclude the hope of evasion, then even the interior movement of the afflicted soul is absolutely hindered, so that it cannot turn aside either this way or that. Sometimes even the external movement of the body is paralyzed, so that a man becomes completely stupefied. So there are obviously degrees here, and sometimes sorrow can be so debilitating that a person can't even move, and of course that would certainly have an effect on the soul and also the body as well. Article 3, whether sorrow or pain weakens all activity. Sorrow at times does not depress or consume the soul so as to shut down all movement, internal or external, but certain movements are sometimes caused by sorrow itself. Accordingly, action stands in a twofold relation to sorrow. First, as being the object of sorrow, and thus sorrow hinders any action. For we never do that which we do with sorrow so well as that which we do with pleasure or without sorrow. So again, some of this is common sense, that if you're joyful, if you're happy, you're going to do more and have more activities. And if you're sorrowful or depressed, well, it's going to limit your activity. The reason for this is that the will is the cause of human actions, and consequently, when we do something that gives pain, the action must of necessity be weakened in consequence. Secondly, action stands in relation to sorrow as to its principle and cause, and such action must needs be improved by sorrow. Thus, the more one sorrows on account of a certain thing, the more one strives to shake off sorrow, provided there is a hope of shaking it off. Otherwise, no movement or action would result from that sorrow. So we could be so sorrowful that we want to get rid of it, and so it could increase activity, I think, is what Thomas is getting at there. Article 4, whether sorrow is more harmful to the body than the other passions of the soul. He says, for man's life consists in a certain movement which flows from the heart to the other parts of the body. Okay, I'm going to go up a little bit higher than this. It says, of all the soul's passions, sorrow is the most harmful to the body. The reason of this is because sorrow is repugnant to man's life in respect of the species of its movement, and not merely in respect of its measure or quantity, as is the case with the other passions of the soul. And then he goes on to explain this a little bit further. He says, those passions that imply a movement of the appetite in pursuit of something are not repugnant to the vital movement as regards its species, but they may be repugnant thereto as regards its measure. Such are love, joy, desire, and the like. Okay, so those are all concupiscible passions. Wherefore, these passions conduce to the well-being of the body, though if they be excessive, they may be harmful to it. On the other hand, those passions which denote in the appetite a movement of flight or contraction are repugnant to the vital movement, not only as regards its measure, but also as regards its species, wherefore they are simply harmful, such as fear and despair, and above all sorrow, which depresses the soul by reason of a present evil, which makes a stronger impression than a future evil. So if something is present, like sorrow, then it's going to make a bigger impression, and it's going to be more harmful to the body than the other passions. All right, well, that is question 37, 4 articles there, and thank you for joining me in this journey through the Summa, one question at a time. God bless you.